Welcome, Cougar fans. We have another sit-down this morning with USF head men's basketball coach Chris Johnson. My name's Dan Genzler, Sports Information Director. Coach, talk to us about this past weekend. You played Wayne State on Friday at Wayne, and then you played one of your rivals in Augustana on Saturday. How things go?
Well, quite frankly, they didn't play very well on Friday night. Wayne had a lot to do with that. Wayne had a good weekend. They swept, and they came into the weekend with only a couple of conference wins. And they played really well. They pressured us. It bothered us. We turned the ball over, and then I think we shot something like 25% in the first half and really dug ourselves a hole. Just one of those ones you want to throw away pretty quickly. It was we just didn't play well, and didn't do a lot of things well enough in that game to compete and win. Saturday, obviously, we played well for a big portion of that game. Played the game at the pace we needed to play it at, bothered them with some things, but there's a reason they're the #2 team in the country. And they made some shots in a stretch of the last 5 minutes of the first half and the first 5 minutes of the second half and stretched it on us, and then we kind of hunkered down after that and kind of kept it the same, but never really made a big run at them. We've talked about it all year. We're not a great offensive team, and when you take the 4th or 5th leading scorer in the league out of the lineup for Saturday and Charles Ward, we were hoping to play that game in the 60s or 70s. We got that done. We just didn't quite score enough points.
You did miss Charles on Saturday. Obviously, one of the things that came out of it is Mac Johnson came up with 4 threes, 19 points. You had 13 points from Cutler Finnerman, who was playing with probably some difficult issues with his own physical things going on, and then Keaton Johnson had a career high 10 points. So, and there was other guys. James Lawson came in. Talk about your guys that stepped up and played really well Saturday.
Yeah, we went into Saturday night with 2 upperclassmen dressed.
Right.
That's it. One senior, one junior, and our junior, Jordan Stotts, got in foul trouble and hardly played. So we were out there with all basically freshmen and sophomores, and Cutler Finnerman kind of showed what we thought he would be all year. He's just been hurt, and when you're dealing with a back issue, it's tough. And quite frankly, he probably shouldn't be playing right now, but we need him, and so he's gotten through it. Showed the ability that we all know. He can really shoot the basketball, and he's kind of that stretch big, gives us a different look than Brian. I thought he was good. I thought Kibu is starting to come into his own. He still needs to be a little bit more consistent, and he's still learning how to be a point guard, but I thought he was really good the last couple weeks. You could see him starting to feel more comfortable. And Mac's kind of done that all year. Mac's, I think, averaging about 15, 16 a game, and so for him to have 19, that's pretty par for the course, but he also was the guy that their entire defense was focused on Saturday, and he still found a way to carry a big load of what we were doing offensively.
Coach, we were talking about Cutler Finnerman, and one of the things we always talk about a guy that has some ability to that has come up in recent games, and Cutler scored 13 points, hit some threes, created some problems for Augustana. Because Augustana had to defend a lot of Cutler and Max and Keeble in the middle, but talk about Cutler a little bit and what he can do as a player.
Yeah, he's just so different than a lot of fives in our league. He's a guy that's much more comfortable away from the basket. He can handle it, shoots the ball at a really high level, which is something we've missed all year, with him being in and out of the lineup. Something that he'll bring to us in the future. And, he played with a lot of confidence on Saturday, which is impressive because he's really not played much here lately. I bet you his total minutes over the whole second semester are under 100. He just hasn't played a lot. But he can really help us. He gives us a different look, can kind of stretch the defense, take their big man out away from the floor, which, against some of the bigs that aren't as comfortable out there, it gives us a different look. And to have both, and there are times where we played both those guys together. And honestly, there were times on Saturday because of our injuries that I had Cutler at 3. And I don't know if people even noticed that. Now, it was an interesting dynamic. It's not something we've practiced a lot, but he did fine out there too. We had Tom guard the 3, and we let Cutler play the 3 offensively. So He just gives us a lot more versatility. When he's healthy, there's just a lot of different lineups we can play that include him.
Now moving forward, the last time you met the teams that you're going to meet this week in Stewart Center, Minnesota State on Friday night. We led them at halftime, and then we'll get into Concordia after they're done. But after we're done with them, but Minnesota State presents some real problems. They're the best big player in Sam Murray, and then they have a great point guard in Zach Monahan, and then they have some shooters. So you guys have to find those two guys particularly going to be dealing with them this weekend.
Yeah, I mean they're really good. I think they're 20-6 right now. They gave Augie their only loss of the year. For about the last 2 or 3 years, you could argue, and obviously Jordan Reaver would be in this discussion, but we got one of the best point guards in Zach Monahan. We got one of the best big men besides Dan Jansen and Austin Murai. And so they create a lot of problems. And then they've got a Division I transfer who's their third guy, who's also probably a top 10 player in our league. And so you put those guys out on the floor, and then they surround them with shooters. It's a tough challenge. We did a great job the first game of really controlling tempo, similar to this last Saturday, and really kind of keeping them in the half court and just making the game a little bit slower. And then for about a 5-minute stretch, with about 7 minutes left at their place, it was a tie game, and they got out in transition a couple times. We turned the ball over, and they stretched it on us. But that was a 3 or 4 possession game. We played well. Played really hard. Again, just probably didn't have enough offense to finish the deal when we played them the first time. We'll have some new tricks up our sleeve. We won't talk about those right now, but we'll definitely have something for them on Friday night, and I expect our guys to be ready to play another, one of the best teams in our league.
Yeah, they've had it going for a few years now, and Matt Martin, Taylor's really done a good job with that program. But talk about, there's a new coach in the league, Joey James, comes over from USD, and Concordia comes in 16-10, and they had a solid year in the league. I think they're 12-8, and so they're a team that you probably match up a little bit better with overall. Talk about what that game presents itself and what you're going to try to do on Saturday night.
Joey's done a great job. He's brought a discipline and a structure to that program. They've always had a lot of talent, still have a lot of talent. Very defensive-minded basketball team. I think when we played them the first time, I think they beat us 71-68, something like that. Real tight basketball game. At that time, I think we were averaging 69.5, and they were averaging 69.5 points a game. It's going to be a little bit more of a fist fight in that game. But they're tough to score against. They've done a great job with their defense. Therese Van Pelt, a guy who's led our league in scoring a couple times, has turned into more of a facilitator. He's averaging, I think, 10 or 12 points a game, but more than capable of getting the ball to other people, but also capable of going for 25 on any given night. And their young kids have played really well, and they've got a lot of confidence right now. They've had success that they haven't had the last 3 or 4 years, and so you can tell when you play them that they're a much more confident group.
One of the things that's going to happen for the fans out there this weekend, we get the opportunity, we're going to have Cougars are going to announce their Model of Brands Award winners, and football teams are also going to be honored for their success this fall. But then we're also going to be able to honor both the men's and women's basketball team, the seniors on that team. And we have 2 of them that have had good careers, great careers in a lot of respects. We've got Brian Tolkinski, who's, if we had more accurate records, maybe we'd know he's going to approach 130 block shots by this weekend for his career. He's one of the league leaders this year. Charles Ward has averaged double digits. He's had somewhere around 40 double-digit games. He's averaging 17.2 points per game. And fans get to say really goodbye to those 2 players this weekend. Talk about that.
Well, Brian's been here for 5 years. He was one of the first guys we recruited when we got here, with the vision of going into the Northern Sun. Guy that I, quite frankly, knew a lot about because we were recruiting him a little bit when I was at North Dakota when he was a really young guy. And so I feel like I've known Brian as long as I've probably known any player I've ever coached. And he's done a really nice job for us. He's obviously led the league in block shots last year. I think he's in the top 5 or 6 this year. He's kind of been an anchor of our defense for a long time here. And just to watch the growth, off the floor, his growth has been even exponentially bigger. But on the floor, when he got here, he was a 6'8", 190-pound guy. He's 245 pounds now, and it's all his doing. It's all his hard work. And when you're with somebody for 5 years, we've seen great times, tough times, good time, you name it. And it's gonna be a sad day to not have Brian, get to play in the Stewart Center anymore after that. And then you take Charles, who's only been here for 2 years, but has been a focal point of our team for 2 years, a big part of our team. I think he scored almost 800 points in 2 years. I mean, that's an impressive stat. And you said he's averaging 17 a game, and that's with him getting hurt on Friday and not scoring. You take that game out, and he's even higher than that. And another guy that I'm more impressed with the growth as a person, as a young man, off the floor than even on the floor, but he's twice the player this year that he was for us last year, and we've really leaned on him. And I know it hasn't been easy for those two guys with the season that we've had, being their last ones, but they've never wavered with what this program's about, what we're teaching, what we're stressing. They've just never wavered, and I owe a lot to those guys for that.
And I think Cougar fans and nation all appreciate what they've done. And moving on from these two games, the Cougars will go on the road next week. It'll be the opening round of the NSIC tournament, and that'll be a great opportunity for the team to maybe forget this season and take it one game at a time moving forward from there.
Yeah, you still have time to keep getting better, and I do think whether wins and losses have shown it, we've continued to get better over these last weeks, and that is the focal point for us. I mean, next Wednesday, obviously we want to win this weekend for our seniors, for our program, to gain momentum, all that, but regardless of what happens, that next Wednesday is going to be it's one and done. You've got to find a way, if you want to keep playing, you got to find a way to win a game, and I think we're going to be capable of doing that, but we'll have a huge challenge no matter who we're playing.
Thanks, Coach. Again, fans, remember, this weekend we host Minnesota State. It'll be approximately 8 o'clock tip for the men's team. You'll follow the women's game that starts at 6. Then on Saturday night we play Concordia, St. Paul. Game times are the women at 4 and the men probably right around 6 or 6:15. Coach, again, thanks.
Thank you.